One size fits all seemed like a good idea for clothes.
Nice dress. It's a t-shirt.
Until you tried it on. Same goes for your healthcare. That's why United Healthcare offers a variety of flexible, budget-friendly coverage for medical, vision, dental, and more. So whether you're between jobs, coming off a parent's plan, or even missed open enrollment, you can find the plan that fits you best. Find out more about United Healthcare coverage at uh1.com. That's uh1.com.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, Randy.
Since we founded Bombas, we've always said our socks, underwear, and T-shirts are super soft. Any new ideas?
Maybe sublimely soft.
Or disgustingly cozy.
Wait, what?
I got it. Bombas. Absurdly comfortable essentials for yourself
and for those facing homelessness.
Because one purchased equals one donated.
Wow, did we just write an ad?
Yes.
Bombas. Big comfort for everyone. Go to bombas.com/ACAST and use code ACAST for 20% off your first purchase.
Hello, EggChasers. It's the EggChasers Rugby podcast, the podcast about rugby that doesn't take itself or the game too seriously, back in the rugby dungeon. And not making sure on this occasion we don't leave you waiting till a Tuesday after a bank holiday weekend, because the rugby was so good that we wanted to enjoy it with you right now. So thank you very much for listening. I'm Tim. There's JB.
Hello, Tim.
And there's Phil.
Hello, Tim.
If only we could do a podcast along the lines of what we were just talking about before we started the podcast.
There are other podcasts that do that, and they do it far, far more convincingly.
Maybe we'll discuss that at some point. Maybe on a Patreon podcast, which is one place and way that you can support the show, keep the lights on, and program, as JB likes to say.
Yeah, it's a program. It's factual. It's not Top Gear.
Patreon.com/EggChasers for extra content. And thank you to all the new patrons that are there. We are wherever you get your podcast. Go and hit subscribe. JB is on LinkedIn, where he's working on rugby stuff and also Beardmore and Beardmore and Beardmore and Beardmore.
Someone said to me this week, in fact, I got a phone call from a podcast listener wanting financial advice, and they weren't sure if Beardmore & Co. was an in-joke and if the financial advice firm actually existed. It does exist. It very much exists. We do pensions and investments. Beardmore & Co. But Beardmore is fine.
Beardmore Cubed.
Beardmore Cubed, yeah.
Yes. And who's had the most middle-class British bank holiday Sunday so far? What have you done?
Not us, I don't think.
Yeah, not us really. We woke up in West London. I guess that's quite middle class.
So far, so good.
But then spent 2.5 hours on a train north.
Sweatiest train.
Yeah.
No Man United and City fans still?
Yes.
Were they still wearing shirts?
Very few City shirts, quite a lot of United shirts.
United.
There
Lots of Leeds fans down there as well last night.
Oh, yeah.
Loads of who will now be very sad Leeds fans.
Why did they lose?
They 1-0. Southampton.
Southampton back up, are they?
Yep.
Oh, goodness me.
And Leeds kind of choked towards the end of the season in second place, and it was within their gift.
Yeah, we were demonstrating to Leeds football fans how to neck pints last night.
That was quite good fun.
Yeah.
They were good lads.
Yeah, they were fine, but they couldn't drink. For toffee.
So yeah, not that we've not done anything other than a train. So how's your middle class?
Oh,
British?
so British. So I've been to the Tip.
Nice.
I've cleared out the shed, and I was trying to
Marks and Spencers.
None of that.
Waitrose.
But I was trying, and I've failed to untangle a chain on my bike, trying to get my road bike up and going because I wanted to go for a ride tomorrow. But instead, I'm going to have to face the shame of taking it round to a bike shop and going, "Can you fix my bike?"
I take my bike shop. I used to take my bike to the bike shop for everything, punctures, everything. I'm not changing it. No way. There's a bike shop in the middle of the town, and they did just everything. And they'd service your bike for some ridiculous amount of money. I couldn't even work out what I was getting for it. 90 quid for service.
Not good or bad?
Well, I don't think it's good. I mean, it's a bike.
I've paid more than that for a bike service in the past.
Yeah, and they convinced me that I needed another one. Oh, do you need the gold? I think we need the gold one. Last one was the silver one. Okay, fine, do it.
Fine. So there you go. But we all then were at the Tottenham Stadium. Didn't manage to bump into each other. We were there in different crowds doing different things.
I didn't know you were there. The only reason I knew you were there is because it showed up on Facebook Live. No, YouTube Live.
YouTube.
It's the only reason that we knew that you were there. Sneak. You crept in.
I didn't know myself until quite late on, to be honest.
Well, what's that broken?
Sorry?
Was WhatsApp broken?
Well, the thing is, if I'd have said, I'm down, lads, I wouldn't have been able to go, where are you? I'll come and meet you. Or it wasn't going to be one of those days. I was in and I was out.
Yeah.
And
so how come you were there? Because there's a story behind it.
Yeah, okay, so I'll actually let you know something that I've been saying for a little while now. So one of the people you might have seen on the big it came up on the big screen, but you might have seen on the TV broadcast was Joe Worsley. And along with Joe Worsley, I'm part of a small team of people who are massive Francophiles, love French rugby, and are bemused that it's not more popular in the UK.
Yes.
So, doing something about it. And I haven't actually... I've been putting content up on there, but haven't mentioned anything, haven't promoted anything, so there's no viewers or anything, but there is a new home for French rugby in the UK. It's on YouTube, and it's called FRUK Rugby.
Awesome.
So, Joe Worsley's behind it, I'm involved, and there's going to be some cool stuff happening soon.
When do you expect your first piece of content to be up?
Oh, there's content up there already.
There is?
There is.
Is it your content? Are you on there?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I haven't mentioned it or promoted it or done anything. I'm just trying to get the stuff up there, and then it's soft launch. Yeah. And then actually, this is the first time I've even mentioned it to anyone outside of nearest and dearest and you guys and stuff. So
exciting.
Yeah,
so this is why you're in France frequently.
Yeah. So So there's going to be some really cool stuff coming very soon. I'll just say, appropriately enough, I was in Toulouse not so long ago and chatting to Jack Willis, Thibaut Flamont, Jerome Kano, and there's going to be some cool Toulouse content coming very soon.
Quick question.
Awesome.
Peter Malvaca, or however you say it. I say I call him Peter, it's not Peter, is it?
Piatto.
English speaker or not?
I don't know.
I was thinking, he must be an English speaker, surely.
Depends where he grew up. If he grew up in New Caledonia or
something like
French Polynesia...
Maybe not.
Not necessarily. French might be his first language.
I don't know what his background is.
Born in New Caledonia.
Oh, there you go. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's quite a few of them that have come from there.
It was Vahamina.
Vahamina's another one.
Similar.
Another one as well. Well, that means...
so he's probably French speaking.
Quite a few. We met some French Caledonians or New Caledonians in Japan. I don't know if you were there.
Can't remember.
French fans, and I couldn't work out where it was. I thought it was like part of Scotland or something.
So very good to get some Toulouse content. I'll have some Toulouse content in the bag after yesterday.
There's some cool post stuff up there right now. That's one of the things I did put up with, which got Dan Robson and among others. So yeah, go, FRUK Rugby, go and check that one out. EggChasers Rugby on YouTube as well. And if you need a stadium built or someone to go over litigation on a dispute in construction, Phil is your man. But we were all there at the Champions Cup final, so let's just get straight into this. What a match.
Yeah, it was good. It was very, very, very good.
Anyway, thanks for listening to the podcast. See you next time.
It was ace. It was really, really good. And it's because the stakes were so high, weren't they? It really felt like the stakes were as high as it can possibly get outside of an international game. And actually, outside of a select few international games like Six Nations deciders, World Cup deciders, Rugby Championship deciders, and then this is that calibre.
It felt like a massive occasion. But it's quite a hard game to unpack as to exactly what happened. It's not entirely obvious why the winners were the winners, what necessarily went wrong. I mean, there are a few obvious bits and pieces, but yeah, it's a very difficult game to sort of go over, I think.
I think you drawing that parallel with international rugby, and not like the highest profile international rugby is a totally apt comparison to make, because I was thinking during the game yesterday, every small moment feels like a massive moment.
Yeah.
One scrum felt so big.
And there were some key turning points.
Yeah.
I say turning points. There were points in that game where you thought the game was going to turn towards Leinster, but it never quite did. They had a lot of luck. They had a lot of bad luck too, but they had a lot of luck.
I said at half time, I thought Leinster were going to win this.
Same.
I really did. I thought the pressure, and you look at the stats, 59 or 60% possession and
60-40 territory, 60-40 possession. They made 50% more metres. They beat more defenders.
Yeah.
And to be fair, as exactly how it felt in the stadium. So I didn't know the positions until you told me then. That sounds exact. In fact, I'm surprised there's not more.
Yeah. They had huge amounts of pressure, and in credit to Toulouse, their defence was superb. They forced Leinster to make errors, multiple errors, handling errors, and the breakdown. And I think probably... I've not yet had a chance to watch the game back. It felt to me that the breakdown was the key area in that game. Like, looking back on it, both forcing penalties Toulouse forcing penalties that allowed them to clear the line and take some pressure off, but also forcing penalties that allowed them to keep the scoreboard ticking over, which they did, and which Leinster, they had, I think in the first half, 3 kickable penalties that they went for the corner. 3 times, and subsequently failed, as we all know.
Let's pick up on that first of all, because there was a couple of things which I saw from Leinster, and yes, it's the way they play, but this is a cup final. But it's actually quite similar to Ireland. They tend to be the same, and is... Like, I don't know whether hindsight's 2020. Had they won the game, we wouldn't even be mentioning it. But that scoreboard pressure, 3-6-9, they did. Ireland and Leinster both seem to swerve it, and I don't get it.
Yeah, I think they lost their head a bit because the first 2 penalties were kicked to the corner, or we'll just change our strategy completely, and then they didn't really do that again. They did towards. There's one or 2 in the second half, I think, that they worked the corner towards the end of the game when they absolutely had to. I'm not. That doesn't leave me thinking good things about them, because they've obviously come in with one plan, which is to attack the corner. After 2 attempts, they've packed it in.
2 or 3,
just packed it in, and we'll go and do something else now.
We'll have to keep the score moving,
and as a pack as well, to sort of concede that territory so early on, to say, do you know what, we'll just start kicking. Or the message to your pack, which is, okay, you've had your 2 goes, now we're going to kick to sticks.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I like that.
Which is, I remember Exeter when they were at their very best, when they won Premiership and Champions Cup, and there was...
Is this Saracens game?
There was a Saracens game, but there was other games, including, I think, maybe Toulouse and or La Rochelle, on their route to the final, where they just kept doing it. So they'd do it 3 times and fail, but they'd do it a 4th time and a 5th time and a 6th time, turn down, and eventually they would get it. Whereas Leinster, they back themselves 3 times and then pivoted.
It's not backing yourselves, is it?
It's not having the full conviction. Yeah. It's kind of half backing yourself, which doesn't really work.
If rugby was a bigger game and more people watched it, and it was more widely discussed in the media, and the Premiership was a product like the Premier League, the game you're referring to against Saracens would be an iconic moment, because Exeter just carried on hammering Saracens. And this wasn't any old Saracens, this was the good version. This is the one with all of the South African land, whatever it was, all of the stars, and right at the death, the thing which they couldn't do all game, they finally cracked Saracens. Yeah. That's how you back yourself.
After about 77 minutes, it was.
Then they go over. That's how you do it. You don't have two goes and then start kicking for sticks. That'd be the first thing. I'll throw out another thing. I thought Ross Byrne had... Is it Ross Byrne?
Yeah.
Had a pretty poor game.
Yes.
So when I was watching on the ground... at the ground, didn't really notice it. I did notice that he doesn't take the ball to the line. He doesn't move his feet at all, really. He stays static. Yeah. But he didn't look too bad. And it also looked like Leinster knew exactly what the pre-programmed move was. When you watch it on TV, he looks really poor.
Oh, really?
Really poor, I think, yeah.
That's interesting, because the attack, they had a few nice moments in attack, but it felt like there was far more where they were just a bit stale.
Predictable, and slightly one-paced, a bit slow. And it also, the number of times where players had to catch the ball down by their shins.
Yes.
The passing was not good.
Yeah.
So when they did make their breaks, and they had 2 opportunities, one was a James Lowe throwing it on the floor and missing Jameson Gibson Park, and the next one was Jameson Gibson Park throwing the ball on the floor, or something like that. So 2 massive let-offs for Toulouse. But I seem to remember those coming from almost Toulouse errors, like defensive errors, not from anything which they've made themselves.
Well, the other good break that should have resulted in a try but resulted in a Toulouse penalty was the Dan Sheehan.
Yeah, pickpocketing Dupont. 70 metres.
It's got nothing to do with their attack, has it? And everything to do with
defence. That is it's a failure from the other side.
Funny they still have Stuart Lancaster. Hey.
If only. Well, I was going to talk about this, obviously. But even though Leinster lost, and you can level some pretty damning criticism on their attack, which was, for the most part, non-existent. I know those stats look good.
Yep.
Like, the possession stats look good.
Yep.
The meters made look good. But where they fell down is just lack of precision in the 22.
100%. Yeah, cutting edge.
Yeah. So, I actually like this Leinster team and the makeup of it a little bit more than the previous ones that have lost. I think that they're going to be in a better place than they would have been 12 months ago, because they're all learning new things. You can sort of see that. For all of the lack of attack they had, their defence was pretty good. I mean, the reason that they had possession is because they were battering Toulouse.
Yeah.
And when they did have the ball, one of the things that I liked is they could get into rhythm, and Toulouse couldn't do that. So when they wanted to go, say, from the halfway to the 22, there was a lot of forwards carrying the ball, and that made a difference. Toulouse couldn't get their forward game or their carrying game going to any great degree, really. So Leinster had two things going for them, just wasn't enough.
Another parallel between Leinster and Ireland, and you've already mentioned Ross Byrne. I agree with everything you said. He also played for quite a while, to my eye, on one leg, and it just made me think, because Kieran Frawley came on, and suddenly there was a bit of an injection or something.
He did look better.
And it just made me think as well of Ireland quarter-final, and again, hindsight is 2020, but keeping Johnny Sexton on for as long as they did when he was clearly out on his feet.
Yeah. Don't disagree.
The flip side of all that, because we've spoken about Leinster there at some length. If
we're just keeping it to Leinster, then we'll move on. There's one thing as well. Hugo Keenan does not make mistakes. He made an absolute howler in extra time. Dupont box kicking, and Dupont's box kick was out from outside the 22 and was going to be going straight into touch. Keenan caught it, then put his foot on the line.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a 60-metre swing. And possession as well. It was like, you never see that. And I think they got a penalty straight after that.
Yeah, just back to swings, things which kept Leinster in the game big time. Just before the half, it was going to be a kick to sticks, which would be 12-3. The kick was missed, and then I think 43 minutes, Leinster got a kick, so it was 9-6. That's a big difference. That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And then they get put back in the game again when it was the Rory Arnold red card, and it just looked like Toulouse were running away. Richie Arnold.
The other one.
It looked like Toulouse were running away with it, and then they get that try. And they had all these little moments in the game which allowed them to cling on. But I guess the counter side to that luck is they had the James Lowe try disallowed for offside. They had two drops which could easily... I mean, actually, that's another thing.
The McCarthy try, which I've not seen again.
The
try.
There was... it was the knock-on before the James Lowe no try.
No,
is that right?
There was one... There was the McCarthy one.
So McCarthy, that's another try. So it looked in the stadium as if it was a nailed-down try. Me and Phil looked at each other, it's a try. He ripped the ball, but Matt Carney gave it as a knock-on.
Yes.
Watch on TV, it's a knock-on.
Yeah.
Was it?
So he gets it ripped, he catches it, tries to regain it, and then fumbles it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So it is definitely a knock-on. But
that was the right call.
I was like, that was... and I'll just some praise for McCarthy as well. He's more than just a ball carrier.
I thought he was the best player on Leinster's team.
Easily. He might be the best. In fact, I'd say he's the best player on the field.
He was.
No, that's a big statement.
He was
great, but if you were ranking him out of 10, I'd give him a 9.
Crop was...
Or 8.5, maybe 8.5, but there's a couple of players that had 9 or 10.
Francois Crop, or whatever. In fact, the entire Toulouse back row.
The back row. I didn't think Rouman was that good. He is a serious player.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to say. I thought you were saying he wasn't.
No. I knew. Obviously, he starts for Toulouse, so I thought he's going to be good. But I didn't realise he was as good as he is.
Yeah, he's an absolute monster. Well, they're all. 41 tackles by Jack Willis.
It's insane.
Okay. He had 20 minutes extra to say Thierry Dusoutoir, or is that still the record? The international record, at least.
Yeah, Thierry Dusautoir, and then there was a Jacques Berger one.
Yeah, the one with the Jacques Berger against Clermont that was in the Champions Cup semi-final. I think that might have been 28 or 29
I'm
tackles.
sure that
but
was one half.
Well, I think he might have come off after 60 minutes. You're right, and it wasn't just it was quality and quantity. They were bone crunchers.
Now, I thought McCarthy was probably best. Yeah, I thought he was excellent.
Best man in blue.
I'll go with that for now.
Yeah,
I'll go with that because he just manhandles people. He just does everything you want as a big second row. Those other Leinster second rows have got big things to live up to.
Joe McCarthy and RG Snyman sound all right to you?
What are they doing? So, is the other South African guy leaving? Must be.
Yeah,
Jenkins
will be out. James Ryan is a solid backup now. Bard. I mean, and that's another interesting thing, right? What do you think the Leinster plan was here? The Leinster plan to me looked like start a weaker pack because every other final they've been on top.
Start with a stronger pack. Finish with a stronger pack.
Finish with a stronger pack, maybe.
Josh van der Vliet added something when he came on.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. But also, we were talking about this on the way stadium. They just picked the most massive back row. So I can't really work out. Were they looking to finish with a stronger pack? Like, was that them being dominant? Or was that them being reactive, thinking we just need the biggest boys on the field that we can possibly get because we're scared of Toulouse's size?
Well, if that had been the case, they might have started with Jack Conan rather than have him off the bench. Although Ryan Baird's a big old boy.
6'7". Yeah.
He was really good as well.
Baird and Connors is big as well.
Yeah.
He's significantly bigger than...
What's Connors, 6'4"?
6'5".
6'5", so...
Yeah, big boys.
Yeah, I mean, they're all massive men.
But then they are against Toulouse.
But yeah, unless...
Quite a big pack.
Oh, I'll tell you the other guy that really impressed me in the flesh was Osborne.
Yeah.
I think his passing is nice. I think he puts the ball exactly where it needs to be. But overall, some of the Leinster drops in attack were criminal. Mm-hmm. They were criminal.
At bad moments as well.
Yeah.
Really, but it was the drops. So they stopped themselves from getting momentum through their own drops, and they were stopped with the number of turnovers.
Yeah.
At the breakdown, the work of the Toulouse team.
They know better than that. Some of the penalties they gave away, it was like, I'm one of the biggest Caelan Doris fans you'll find, and I thought he was good for the most part, but there was a couple of penalties he gave away. It's like just sort of flopping over the ball onto the wrong side. It's like you know better
Not
than
now.
that.
Yeah,
you know, because
Keane Healy, how many games has he played? And that it was after that Keenan mistake. There was a line out, and Healy was isolated, just ran in on it all, completely isolated on his own. Easy turnover, Penn 3 points.
I wonder if we've learned, when will they learn the lesson that player welfare and resting your players just isn't the way forward? You need to be at it all of the time.
Well, on that, and I did a bit of... I looked at some numbers beforehand, so I just compared... You can do this across the Toulouse team, but for the most part, this is pretty similar. Actually, I'd say that Toulouse this year, the difference with Toulouse is that they looked at Leinster and went, let's do a bit more of that. Piato Malvaca has only started 4 top 14 games this whole season.
But he is in a combination with one of the best hookers in the world.
Marchand.
Yeah. And it's like...
Yeah.
If you remember that when Bath were really good and they were rotating between Batty and Rob Webber would start. But it doesn't mean that... I mean, I think with hookers you need to look at their minutes.
Mbonambi and Marks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. One of them's got to be on the bench.
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing that I'd say. The other thing I'd say is they probably do rest more than I probably give them credit for.
Well, they have this season.
But they're also in the top 14. So it's not like you've got Scarlets at home this week or Zebra away. These are real games that they've got to play in a real league every single week.
A league that they are currently top of as well.
Yeah. So there's rest and there's top 14 rest. And I'm not sure that they are quite equivalent.
Just before we leave Leinster, had Kieran Frawley knocked that drop goal over with 30 seconds left, we would have been saying, fair play, the best team won. In 80 minutes.
I think you're right. I actually think you're right.
That is a very good point.
I wouldn't have...
that highlights the difference, the kind of marginal differences between being the best team in Europe and losing, 4 on the bounce?
3 finals in a row.
3 on the bounce, 4 in 5 years.
Yeah, 4 in 5 years. No win since 2018. Yeah.
It is small margins, and then there are some big margins, like the sheer amount of room that Lebel found himself in whatever it was, 5 minutes into that the first half.
He is ridiculously quick.
He's so fast.
He had so much space out there.
But what was noticeable is the second. It was almost like they and I'm sure they do plan and practice for this. But as soon as Leinster went down to 14, they just flipped a switch and went edges, and they were happy to take 20 metres backwards, getting the ball to the outside, and it was just in a way that they'd been trying it a couple of times, but not to that extent. They were clearly like, don't care how far back we go, let's get the ball out the back, get it to the outside. And they just, try was amazing.
And they did have some moments of, Toulouseness, like French rugby-ish stuff. Yeah. So there's one part in the first half where they look like they're going to try and run it up the forwards, and then one forward runs a really sort of wide line off the line. I can't remember who it is. Tip pass. Yeah. And then another one, tip pass. I think, bloody hell, what's this? It's a bit on the risky side. I think LaBelle goes on the outside then. Yeah. Very, very, very close to try. Well,
that almost try in the first moment, and judging by the pictures that I've seen on WhatsApp, it must have been right in front of where you were.
Did we? Yeah. So did we get into
when it was Malia? Oh, did you miss the Malia?
Yeah, we missed it.
I think we might have missed that.
Oh, you sure? It would have been. I was just a bit further around from where you were, and I just had my jaw like, whoa, like what? It was It would have been an insane try. Like Dupont had no right to be able to give the offload that he gave. He managed to.
Yeah, we missed that.
Yeah, he managed to get the ball, and as he's going into touch, just floated it up ahead. And two Leinster players about to grab the ball, and Malia just dives headlong, takes the ball off and pops the ball down. But unfortunately, Dupont's foot was in touch. Yeah. Just insane stuff.
And then you got LaBelle in touch for a try. At the time, it looked like Paul. Is it Paul Costas?
Paul Cost. Yes.
Paul Cost. I think he butchered a chance on the outside when he cuts back in. But then on TV, it does look like a more reasonable option than it did in the stadium. So I'm not entirely sure on that. Was there one more that Toulouse had?
There was one thing I was going to ask. There was a couple of things. Like, again, not watching it, you just touched on it there, not watching it on telly and watching it in the stadium. There was a couple of moments I was like, I really kind of want to know what's going on. One, I want to hear the explanation for the Matthew Carley's decisions. But there was one where Christoph Ridley came and got involved and was talking about... did you work out what he was going on about there?
Which one?
Was that when...
In extra time.
That was when Malvaka came back on, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was.
I wondered how Crow and Meafu managed to get back on the pitch as well. Must have been HIAs.
Yeah, maybe. I've not picked up anything of that.
Yeah, because there was a big conference, wasn't there, on the sideline?
Yeah, with Ridley. And then the biggest discussion point or one of the biggest stoppages of the whole day was the
Van der Fleer
try. Yeah, which
it wasn't obviously a try to me.
It was so reminiscent of the Scotland-France finish, which was given as a no try at that point. I thought it was going to... To me, I was certain the ball was down.
So I think I can only interpret from the angles that they were showing and how long it took that they were certain it was down, but they weren't certain it was over down and over.
Yeah.
Oh. So I thought they weren't certain the hand wasn't underneath it.
Well, I think it was it went down and then the ball moved forward a bit more, at which point the hand was under, so they just wanted to see was the first contact on or over the line.
Did Matt Carley have a good game?
I think so.
In the stadium, I'd say no. Watching on TV, I say yes, absolutely he did.
I said yes. I thought, broadly speaking, yes at the time. I mean...
Well, like for instance, I'll give you an example. The James Lowe try, I had no idea why. In the stadium, that wasn't a try. The McCarthy try, to me, that was stone cold wrong. And there's just little bits and pieces. But you're right, if you don't see it on TV, you don't know why it happened. So there's two tries there, which, inexplicable to me at the time. But no, you watch it again.
I'll put it like this. Fundamentally, So I'd say on both the cards, I feel sympathy for James Lowe and I feel sympathy for Richie Arnold. I get it. I wouldn't have minded if it was penalty for James Lowe and a yellow for Richie
James
Arnold.
Lowe had to go.
I think he did.
That's what yellow cards for. Richie Arnold, yellow card.
It was what I felt sorry for James Lowe is because it was you're actually trying to ask players to override their central nervous system to a degree that's impossible because you could see instinct, James Lowe put his hand out, and then as the ball touched it is when his brain had engaged and he was trying to pull his hand away.
Exactly.
I just felt sorry for him.
It's that instinct, right, which allows James Lowe to score loads of damn tries. That's why I hate it so much, right, when they say he wasn't in a reasonable position to catch it. That's James Lowe's decision. He's a professional. Like he knows far more about if he's in a reasonable position, and that's why he can do ridiculous things like dive in the air, grab a ball out the air, and then ground it all in one go. If he were to watch that and he sort of knocked it on, you won't give him a yellow card because he's not in a reasonable position to grab the ball. But if it's defensive, it's
fine. As the laws currently are, I thought it was fine. Yeah. So those decisions are right, but I'd say fundamentally, did Matthew Carley have a good game? We just watched one of the great club matches.
Yeah.
So yes,
he is a man. I very precise man. He's a very precise man. I thought he did really well.
Yeah, I would agree. I think if I was going to give any criticism, he can be. So there were a lot of penalties which slowed the game from flowing a little bit because he is so precise and he applies the laws consistently.
Yeah,
how he applies them is that a criticism of Matt Carley? Maybe, but maybe it's a criticism of both teams. If there are 30 penalties in a game, a lot of which are for infringements around the breakdown, and the ref is consistently applying the laws, like that's the team's fault. That's not Matt Carley's fault.
Yeah, he's rapidly becoming one of my favourite refs. I think he's very, very good.
That was a pressure cooker. That was waiting for that Josh van der Fleer try. He looked cool as a cucumber, despite the whole crowd baying for it, and the try got given in the end. So yeah, no complaints there. But talking about Toulouse, lots of good performances we've already touched on. But let's talk about Antoine Dupont for a second.
I don't think it was one of his strongest games. Have I got this completely wrong?
Well, Leinster did a great job at harrying him and getting to him at the breakdown. So I agree with you on that.
Some of his kicking was outrageous.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. So they shut up shop. They obviously did their planning, did their prep, and did a really good job at. He didn't snipe once. He actually didn't pass comfortably at times from the base because they got to him.
Yeah,
but he still did things which were outrageous. And enough kicking, of them to make it.
Yeah, the kicking was great,
and his kicking was incredible.
Some of his defensive work and his turnovers. So he got. I read somewhere that he got more turnovers than the entire Leinster pack.
Wow,
I did not know that.
Well, and significantly,
I did not know that
he got pickpocketed by Dan Sheehan and then made the turnover on his own line.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not a great player. I just don't think it was his finest performance. I thought he was really good.
I thought he was the best player on the pitch.
I don't know.
There's so many times I just went, I can't believe he's just done that.
He just got out of that.
There was one just one thing where, so he's right-footed primarily, and he stood with his in his own 22 and was stood to pass a right-hand pass, so he was stood to the right-hand side of the ball, and Untamak was sat back in the pocket. So the players stopped thinking about charging down the box kick, and they were getting ready to go.
Oh yes,
and he flipping box kicked it to the opposition 10-metre line. He's just unreal.
So a game like that, I'd struggle giving any man of the match award to a back or a half back. It has to go to a forward.
Have you ever? Can you remember another game where someone's got two 50-22s?
No. That's not to say he doesn't do amazing things, but that game is all about the boys up front. That's how I see it.
The physicality.
Yeah. Jack Willis, 41 tackles. Let's just talk about that one more time. But that's just some outrageous work ethic. I mean, he looks like he was designed to play Champions Cup finals. He looks like he's designed to be at Toulouse.
They went to him as a carrier so much in the game as well. How much better has he got since he's in the 2 years he's been at Toulouse?
I just think, has he got better, or is he just in a place where he can display exactly how good he was, or...
Yeah, he's playing in one of the best teams in the world.
I think he's getting his hands on the ball way more than he ever did at Wasps.
But, that's crazy when you think about it, because Wasps played really, really...
I know, but that wasn't the job. He's always been defensively world-class.
Yeah, that's good.
But his all-round game is unreal.
I already do think of him as a stronger carrier at 7 than the others. Maybe not quite as strong as Tom Curry. Tom Curry is a very, very good carrier. But I've always thought of him as a bigger... Because I'm sure he has played 8 at times. Certainly his brother does.
His brother definitely does.
And let's just... So, in that Toulouse team, he was playing 6.
Yeah, that's French 7, isn't it?
No.
What? Yes, it is.
No.
The South Africans and the French do it the same way. So
he was I'll have to check the TV again, but I'm pretty sure he was scrummaging down on the blind side every time.
Potentially. But I never know with the French which way around it goes. Because Dussoutois was a 6.
He wore 6, but
we'd call him. He plays like
an open side.
Serge Betson was a 6.
Olivon and Gelonch were quite. Yeah, they wore 7.
Olivier
6.
Magna wore 6.
No, he wore 7 a lot.
He wore 6.
I always remember Magna in 7.
Maybe he did wear 7. Maybe he did.
Anyway,
but the other two definitely wore.
But let's just say Courtney Law's retiring. Ethan Roops is the incumbent England 6. And Tom Curry's injured at 7, but there are other players that can play there. If he were available, I mean, you've already said it. One of the very first things you said on this is that was as close as you get to international rugby, and the intensity and quality surpassed most international rugby. And he was one of the standout players on one of the biggest stages. He has got it.
Well, we all know what this podcast's house view is on should we play players for England who play overseas? And the answer is yes, you obviously should. Not only because it's financially fair to them and it's fair on their career and whatnot, and they should be allowed to be the best player that they should be without, constraints on their trade and all the rest of it. But in this case, it's actually made him a much, much better player.
Yeah.
A much, much better player. But despite all that, the powers that be in the RFU will say no because it's all about them rather than the rugby. And just being a great player, I don't think will count as being an exceptional enough circumstance. Because we're talking about how great he is now. I still don't think he's reached the heights of Steph Armitage when he was at Toulon. Steph Armitage at Toulon playing 8, and he did play 8.
He did, yeah.
He
played 8 and wore 8.
He was jackling, he was tackling, he was carrying.
I don't know.
Explosive.
I would say
I think he got 2 of the. I think he got 2 Champions Cups. I'm sure he got
3.
Maybe even 3, and he got.
So Jack Willis has been there 2 seasons. He's won the top 14 and a Champions Cup semi-final, and he's won the Champions Cup and maybe will win another top 14. And I would go so far as to say he has been the best forward in the top 14 this year. And there's a good chance he wins Player of the Season in the top 14.
It was exactly what happened to
Zach Mercer, Steph Armitage.
I think Steph Armitage won it twice.
Yeah.
So if that wasn't exceptional enough, I don't know what is. So I mean, both of them are absolutely exceptional. They should be in some national team somewhere.
That's it. So I wouldn't. I know we've been over this. But I wouldn't open it up. But I'm also sad that Jack Willis will not be playing in an England team.
It just makes to me it makes no sense. It makes no sense when the Welsh do it because their players are developing nicely in places like Exeter and they rob their careers off them by putting them in the Dragons. And to a certain degree, it's the same with the English clubs. You bring that guy back, he's not going to. It's likely he would not be as good as he is now if he played at Bristol.
100%. And how fluid is the exceptional circumstances clause? Like, is the exceptional circumstances? Could Steve Borthwick just go, the exceptional circumstances, Jack Willis is exceptional?
It's the best.
Yes,
player in
well,
the
that's
world.
exactly what I'd be saying.
Yeah,
be that good, win a Champions Cup, and you can.
I mean,
I suspect it's loosely defined to give them wiggle room, but convention is. Well, we kind of know what the convention is. The
convention is being good is not enough.
Yeah.
But my idea of exceptional, right? If of the playing population of England of 300,000, you happen to be the best flanker in England, that is exceptional to me. I don't know how much more exceptional.
Did
you need
Ireland
to be.
not make have an exception for Johnny Sexton that he is just really, really good?
I'm pretty sure they did
when he went to Racing. I think they did.
I think they did.
Okay,
but I don't think they're exceptional circumstances. I assume it's a slightly different position because they had. Historically, I don't know, maybe Jordan Murphy played at
a little bit, yeah.
Leicester.
Malcolm O'Kelly when he was over was he at London Irish for a bit?
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah. Did Paul Burke ever play for Ireland when he was at Harlequins?
No, I'm not sure.
I'm sure he did play. Kevin Maggs certainly played for Ireland when he was at Bath. I'm trying to think. There's loads of them.
Just saying some of those names. They're fantastic blokes, great players, but Ireland have got a lot better, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
That is true.
Keith Wood played at Harlequins.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. There's loads. Leo Cullen was at Leicester.
But maybe there were no rules at the time then.
Yeah, I think the rules were different at that stage. And the rules might actually still be different. It's just the IRFU have got a very good handle on the provinces and controlling their talent.
Am I making this up? Did Jennings play for Ireland?
Shane Jennings?
Yeah.
When he was at Leinster, perhaps?
No, when he was at Leicester.
Not sure about when
Shane Jennings and Leo Cullen were both at Leinster. I'm sure they were. And I'm sure they both... No, they're both at Leicester, and I'm sure they played for Ireland.
Yeah.
Maybe I've made that up.
Not sure what the rules were or are or have how they have changed, but I do definitely remember Johnny Sexton seemed to be given an exemption from the convention that...
I'm just going to carry on listing players on. Did Trevor Brennan play? Tom Court would have played when he was at...
Trevor Brennan didn't play after he moved to Toulouse.
Did he not?
No. It was cool that his son played yesterday. That's pretty neat. Against, I mean, I guess the kids of the Trevor Brennan must have all been born out in Toulouse, all born in France, but the fact he's a Leinsterman, and his son's a Champions Cup winner. I haven't seen ski masks. Have we seen any photos of ski masks yet?
I've not seen one.
I thought I did.
Maybe there are. Someone said there's a bunch on Facebook of photos of ski masks, but I've not been able to find.
Well, I certainly downloaded the old photos of ski masks and sent them round.
Last one, Tommy Bowe.
Ospreys. Yeah, well done.
I don't know when. I don't know where he was playing. He was probably back at Ulster. But I played with a Irish international and British and Irish Lion at club level.
Let me guess. Is it? You played with him or against him?
I played with. I was a very, very young guy. I think I might have only actually ended up playing in a pre-season friendly with him, but I was really young, just coming into the first team at Newbury. He was. I won't know that one. He was a winger who moved to Ulster, played for the British and Irish Lions, but he started at Newbury in National 1.
Oh, yes. Damn it! It's someone on the tip of my tongue here.
I don't.
No, go on.
He was also a commentator.
Oh, this is so annoying. Wasn't one of the... No, go on.
Tyrone Howe.
Oh, okay.
Just looking to see if Newbury was on his... Newbury is not on his Wikipedia page. It should be.
Tyrone Howe. Yep. I was one I was thinking of then. I've lost my train of thought. Anyway, did anyone see Gloucester?
Yeah.
My train. So I arrived down in London on the Friday night. My train was an hour delayed, which I need to do my delay repay for.
I've got.
Do you get delay repay for an hour?
Oh yeah, you get delay repay for 15 minutes late.
Yeah,
I thought that's train.
Yeah, train.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said plane.
Yeah, my train.
Yeah.
20 quid.
My train was delayed.
Oh yeah.
So I walked into the pub.
And those first class tickets you get aren't cheap as well, Phil.
Sadly not. So I walked in with 2 minutes left on the clock. So I basically missed the whole game.
Brilliant.
So yeah, I've seen the highlights. I've read a little bit about it. Dominant pack, dominant scrum.
Yeah.
Hardly difficult to predict.
As Oxenche famously said, salads don't win scrums.
No, they do not. Tell you what, I've had the longest week this week. The longest week.
You've been down and back to London twice, as have I actually.
As have I actually, yeah. Me too.
We've all been...
God, I find it a soulless...
Well, I was down in Marlow for one day. Almost London.
Soulless, dystopian hellhole, which is quite good fun. I was taken out for dinner twice, taken out for lunch once, and then last night it was all about... Where were we last night, Phil?
Well, yesterday, our day was quite good. We had...
actually, let me ask... Well, you say what the itinerary was, and then I'll get JB's review of it. You organised the whole day for the boys?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Booked hotels, booked JB's train for him.
Oh, my God, I had a nightmare, Tim. I had an absolute nightmare. So I went out on Friday night with some CrossFit pals. Got in about 3 in the morning. And I'd already done a couple of nights out in London. Broadly speaking, about the same time midweek. And talking to Phil about the Champions Cup, I wanted to go, but I wasn't,
You were in and out several times.
I was thinking, it's going to be a lot of money, all the football fans.
Anyway, that was the bigger issue.
Yeah. And then Phil sorts it out for me. There's a 5:05 a.m. train. I'll book you on it. It's like, fine. Do you know what? If you'll book it, I'll go. So I woke up at 4:15.
Quality sleep is essential. That's why the Sleep Number Smart Bed is designed for your ever-evolving sleep needs. Need a bed that's firmer or softer on either side? Helps you sleep at a comfortable temperature? Sleep Number Smart Beds let you individualize your comfort, so you sleep better together. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number number 1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed for a limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
I'm Sandra, and I'm just the professional your small business was looking for. But you didn't hire me because you didn't use LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn has professionals you can't find anywhere else, including those who aren't actively looking for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role, like me.
In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you'll miss out on great candidates like Sandra. Start hiring professionals like a professional. Post your free job on linkedin.com/spoken today.
5:05, I go mental. I was like, I can't believe I missed my train. My alarm, which I set, didn't go off, or it just vibrated or something. So I went back to bed. And then I got a phone call from Phil saying, no, I just suggested that train. It's actually an open
ticket, so just pick your train.
I can still go. So I was literally...
This was at like 9:30.
Yeah, so just got dressed, packed, just threw
4 hours
into a bag, got to Euston, had no time to get to the hotel, so 15 quid more for a guy to watch my bags. Went to a delightful Italian. So we started the day in Lena Stores, which is just by King's Cross.
Granary Square.
Superb. I would not be surprised if one of those opens in Manchester soon.
Oh, they're very good. Little family-run business. Delicatessen in Soho for a long period of time.
Do you reckon they're all family-run?
They certainly... Because I was working in Soho 10 years ago when they opened their first restaurant, branching out from the deli. I'm sure they were at that point.
Do you know why I asked that? Because you boys and some of our listeners who frequent Manchester might be familiar with a business called El Gato Negro in town. Now that, as I understand it, and I could be wrong, was a small tapas place in...
Was it Leeds at first?
No, it was Ramsbottom.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and then it got taken... So it got sort of taken over by private equity, and they tried to spin that out into an operation, like a city centre restaurant. And that's what I think's happened to Lena Stores.
It might be, because they've branched out, but it's always been... Every time I've eaten there, in any of their, it's really, really good. And not hugely expensive as well. So we were there. We then went for one in House of Cans.
Which is a shipping container which Phil adores.
Love it.
Phenomenally expensive cans of beer, which I enjoyed. I had a bit of chat with the owner about what he's got in. Flavour profiles, that kind of stuff.
Right, get this, right? This is so ridiculous. They pour their beer from a draft setup, and then they can it in front of you, and then give it to you, and then you open the can. Why not put it in the glass?
Explain that one to me, Phil.
That's not what we had yesterday. We just had some track stuff.
So there is a canning machine, right? Literally things which you put in cans. Sorry, how you create a can. So he will pull a beer, right, from his beer pump on draft, and immediately can it, and then give you the can, and then you open it because they're that into cans.
I've never witnessed that.
Yeah, I have nothing but disdain for this concept. Oh, really? That's really interesting. What a phenomenal idea.
So we had one there. Oh, we had a margarita before that, 11:30 a.m. margaritas. Then we went to the game, and then headed back. We had dinner plans. We had Joe Allen Covent Garden, which is like American-style brasserie, which was very good.
I loved it.
And then we went to Flight Club, and then we went to Zebranos on Greek Street.
We got very Wolf of Wall Street in there. So on 10-minute intervals, getting more cocktails. Tremendous. I tell you, on a serious note, though, this is the first time I've managed to go to a game with Phil, a live game, and remember it. So one of the things I was super conscious of is not remembering the game. So my history of drinking at live sports events is so abysmal for as a podcaster. So when I sell sharks, I don't drink because I'm taking it seriously, and I'm just there on my own. So I just watch the game, I get a real good sense of what's going on, do a bit of networking, leave. When I go out on a day session for
Six Nations or whatever,
yeah, you just don't remember anything, like absolutely nothing. So I made a real effort not to get drunk before the game, or just have a beer. So I don't really remember much of the Paris stuff. That's because I was in a horrendous state anyway.
Yeah.
I remember nothing of a single game that I went to in Japan. That is
single Strong Zero's fault. That's definitely.
I might remember, say, 5 non-consecutive minutes. Right, if you string it all together, that cost me thousands. Right?
Yeah, I remember one line out from the England-Argentina game.
I remember the warm-up. I remember admiring how high Mario Itoje gets in the warm-up lineouts. That literally...
Weren't you on TV asleep in your chairs long after people had left?
I fell asleep in the Grand Slam decider between Wales and France once. So I was like, never again.
Didn't you go to the...
only half time.
The classic... game that we actually referenced earlier in this podcast where Thierry Dusatois made...
Yeah, you were there.
Yes, and I wasn't drunk for that. I
thought that 2007 World Cup.
No, I was sober.
Were you?
That one. I was also sober for Clermont Stade Francais, which I travelled to Paris to watch. So there's a few. But usually, I think it's Phil. Phil's the difference.
Blame me.
Right, let's talk about that stadium. Do you like it?
Yeah. It's location... leaves a little bit to be desired.
Tim?
When you're in there, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, location, actually, it's all right. It's easy enough. Seven Sisters is 10 minutes from Euston.
Yeah. But it's then like...
Yeah, there's nothing really around
walk.
it. Yeah, to get... Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, though, when we walked out, and it was 2 minutes after kick-off, and to the cauldron, so we were high up, level 5, in the corner, but you felt like you're on top of the whole thing with the smoke blowing across. With it was awesome.
The seating was very impressive.
Yeah, I was in the cop stand, the one that's got the no tiers. It's just one big tier, and the noise that generates was pretty special.
I mean, the seating was good. In whole though, it's a waste of £1 billion. That's my. We went to get a drink there at half time. Met up with David from. The Thistle podcast, which was nice, and we did not get our drinks back to the seating until 20 minutes into the second.
What?
And going to
that's ridiculous.
Going to the toilet was also very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't solve pouring drinks for £1 billion, like what have you solved? What have you actually solved? So,
but I'd heard it was like, it's the longest bar in Europe, and
it's absolute nonsense, right? So they've got this system of filling up beers, right? So have you seen the bottom up beer filling?
Yeah.
What they were doing, right, is they were filling up one glass of beer and pouring that into other plastic glasses.
What?
So that system is complete.
They should have been canning it after they'd poured it.
Exactly right. They're completely defunct. When I got to the front of the queue...
That's ridiculous.
They'd run out of stock other than tins of rosé wine. So 5 tins of rosé wine, cheers. It was an absolute debacle. Going in, we had our tickets checked 3 or 4 times? No. 3 times.
Yeah, maybe.
Just why not once? Why is once not good enough? So there are a few things which I was disappointed with, but the actual seating, you can't argue with the seating and the actual feel of the game. But how have you not solved? I mean, how have the brightest... Phil, you're in construction. How have the brightest people in your field not solved this issue? For £1 billion?
The beer one is... I mean, that's pretty embarrassing. That's just organisation, isn't it?
Do you think it's anything to do with rugby having a uniquely high concentration of people who want to go for a beer?
Well, so it is a different problem to a normal Spurs game because you can't have a beer in your seat in a Spurs game. So the capacity's not there for that. But they host... it's designed not just to be for Spurs. It's
one of the cool things... one of the cool
things
things about the stadium, I don't know if you're aware, but the NFL... turf is underneath, and the pitch gets rolled out and rolled in.
Very, very cool.
Yeah,
that is very cool. It doesn't get me a beer quicker. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm there to watch some sports and enjoy myself. So if I miss 25% of the game.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the good lads at Toulouse and Leinster made up for it with extra time.
Yes, free rugby.
Bit of free rugby.
Exactly. But other than that,
the toilet situation at half time was farcical. It was just a free for all. No, like 1/10 the number of toilets that was actually required.
Oh, I must have been quite lucky. Well, I went in. That was quite a weird thing, having people recognise you and say, "How you doing?" when you're mid piss. Oh, Tim, nice to see you.
I would shake your hand, but not now.
Yeah, you know.
Look, whole day, loved it. Really, really good day.
Do you want to talk about some media stuff? Some other rugby things.
What's that?
Well, it's two things of note. There's a good Owen Slot article in the Times this week about CVC.
Yeah, showing a level of humility lacking in many other journalists who were trumpeting the arrival of CVC as the solution to rugby's problems in England, and Owen Slot humbly saying, I was one of those people and I could not have been more wrong.
Yeah, and the other thing is Ugo Monia.
Well, so let's stick with Owen Slot for a second, because I just want to reiterate, because we're getting new people listening all the time. The CVC deal was brokered how many years ago now?
4 or 5
years ago. And on day one of that deal being brokered, there was one, and you are, I think describing you, JB, as contrarian is not unkind or unfair. You have a disposition to be cynical of things, and I share that to a degree. But there was cynical or not. Actually, you were talking about this from a financial point of view, which is an area that's your job and you know very well. You said, I have to give you credit, from day one, and you told anyone that would listen, including Owen Slot.
I sent Owen Slot a 4-minute voice note about how this was going to go down. And to be fair, he has got two sets of people talking to him. He's got some nobody in Manchester with a podcast who is continually right and has got an incredible track record of being right. But forget that bit. But still a nobody in Manchester with a podcast. And he's got these flashy guys in CVC who've told him completely the opposite thing. And you would believe the flashy guys from CVC. I mean, they're not rich for no reason.
But also the owners of Premiership Rugby and the RFU, whose job it was to scrutinise how this would look in reality.
And the owners, some very, very smart, wealthy individuals. Yeah. Really, really smart. And they were behind it. But anyone who knew anything about this stuff knew it was going to all end in tears. And I don't think it's fair to blame all of this on CVC. Okay, so Owen Slot makes the point in his column. It's a very good column, so I can read it. But he makes the point that the TV money has fallen in
10%
in the Premiership.
And 10% for the Premiership, and there is currently no TV deal brokered for next year for the Champions Cup.
Yeah, which is a disaster, right? However, the TV deal in France has gone up. So it's got something to do...
700 million euros.
Yeah. So it's got something to do, hasn't it, with Premiership Rugby and the RFU themselves. They are responsible, as well as CVC. He makes the point that they've not bothered reinvesting. I'd have to read the article again, actually, to go through all different points. But yeah, it was good that you came out and said, this has been a disaster.
And on another thing, and this is something where there was more... I'm not going to name any names, but there were a group of, how shall I term them? Rugby, quote-unquote, influencers, people who have, whether it's podcasts or Twitter accounts or whatever, that have been very, very unkind over the years about the way that occasionally we've described rugby should be leaning into the physicality, stop talking about all this health and safety bollocks. Let's remember why people play, why people watch, what people want. And it feels like that pendulum is swinging as well.
Big time.
Now that someone from Premiership Rugby said that they are going to try and tweak the identity of the league, leaning much more into the aggression, the physicality, the gladiatorial nature of the sport, which is just music to my ears. And hopefully will shut some of those people up.
Which all that was... So I read those headlines this week. All that sounds good, because it's something that we've been saying for a long time. The bit that made me raise one eyebrow was the guy who's been tasked with doing it. On his CV is a rebrand. He was involved in the rebranding of cricket, and specifically the the creation of the 100. So basically converting you already had Test match, one-day internationals and 2020, and then just a bit of a gimmick on 2020 basically, which it concerned me a little bit. I don't want to see a gimmick like the 100 coming to rugby. It'd be like Rugby X or whatever.
What was
Ben Ryan tried to do?
Yeah, how did you describe one form of rugby? I can't remember how you described it, but it still makes me laugh. Was there a rugby tennis tournament?
It was Rugby X.
Rugby X.
Haskell, Ben Ryan,
but you said
Hugo were sort of fronting that.
Yeah, if you if Rugby Sevens has too many players for you, maybe this is the game for you. I can't remember what it was. I was like, yeah, why would you ever want Rugby X? What a ridiculous idea. Such a stupid idea. Yes, back to start messaging, right? Something which I noticed in the Champions Cup which wound me up is that the Water Boys and everyone who ran on the pitch with bibs had a message on their shirt. Do you know what the message was?
Remember to stay hydrated.
Do you know, it wasn't that far off. It wasn't that far off. It was keep rugby clean. I'm like, who is this message for? Like, is it for Rory Arnold when he comes on? Is it for James Lowe? Not to mess. Who was the message for? Like, does it mean drugs? Does it mean foul play? Like, who was responsible for this stupid logo? Is it bringing to the attention to middle class mothers who are the only demographic that matter, according to the RFU, that we have a violence problem? And, what are you doing? Why does it not say
keep rugby brutal?
Yeah, why is it not the same? Say best sport on the planet.
Yeah,
amazing game. Like, it could say anything.
These players are fucking enormous. Excuse my language.
Yeah, it could have said anything. It could have said anything. And it's really valuable real estate, and it's all over the TV, and it says, keep rugby clean. Yeah, it's like the rugby against racism. How much money are we spending on rugby against racism? What? The deeply embedded problem of racism in rugby. Okay, we need that everywhere. So, yeah, we need to get rid of all of this messaging.
Yeah, because there would be, for that particular match, people love finals and all the rest of it, there will be more people that are very casual rugby viewers tuning in. Keep rugby clean. Oh, this sort of inference there, the connection you draw is
it drugs?
Oh, they must have a bit of a problem. I wonder if there's a drug problem in rugby.
I wonder if they're juicing. I wonder if they're telling kids not to juice.
Virtue signalling, but you actually are talking down your sport.
Yeah. So I was thinking about the post office today. And how we end up with these people in charge of rugby, and it's a bit of a stretch, but I was just thinking,
Paula Vennell's Premiership Rugby, in charge of Premiership Rugby. Is that what you're suggesting?
No, this is exactly what is all of that. I was talking to a Premiership owner, right? He said, you just can't employ people now. They're all rubbish. They're all absolutely rubbish, and I completely agree with him. I don't mean the people that work in the day-to-day office jobs. I don't mean them at all. I mean the people that rise to the top of these organisations. The sort of Bill Sweeney mentality, where when they get to the top of an organisation, they're just self-serving, self-righteous. They're working to their own agendas, not the agenda of the organisation. Certainly not the people that are involved in the organisation, and they just get bounced around from one organisation to the next. What's her name? Paula
Vennell's.
Is it just someone senior in the NHS now? Blows my mind. It blows my mind. But if you're at the top of an organisation and you see this behaviour at the top of all sporting organisations, the same things which drive her, just that compliance mindset, that self-serving mindset, is within all of these people. Bill Sweeney would be the absolute worst case. The worst case. So, yeah, that was my thought on the post office.
I reckon Vennell's might outdo Bill Sweeney.
No, they behave to the same sort of what do you call it? The same incentives, exactly the same. It's self-protection. It's working to an agenda which is important for their next job. It's they're optimised for the wrong things.
Not customers first.
Certainly not the people that you're responsible for.
Yeah. Mm. Cool. Look at this. We're at an hour
for one game.
We might be done.
Oh, Hugo Monia?
Oh yeah. What do you want to say?
Well, I thought I've got to mention it because obviously I've been scathing about the whole thing, and I never thought charges would be bought, but charges have been bought. So I thought I'd mention it because this is now when you can't talk about it. So you're now not allowed to say anything. So just to put this in context, when people were lying, much like what's her name? What is her name? The one that does your job, Tim. Sonia McLaughlin. When people were actively lying about it, saying we can't talk about it, it is an active police case. It was not. It was not. You could talk about it then. Now you can't talk about it. So all the things I'd like to say, we can't say. So we'll have to wait for the outcome of that process now. But a man has officially been charged and will come up July to some magistrates.
Yeah, 24th of July.
So that'll be very interesting.
Watch this.
So is it civil or criminal?
I've got no idea.
Don't know. Okay.
Yeah, it should be criminal.
Yeah, it's criminal if you're going up.
That wouldn't be magistrate then, would it?
Yeah, it would. Yeah, a magistrate can charge you.
Oh, okay. All right. So not a jury?
No.
Okay. That's why I thought to be criminal you had to have a jury, but maybe.
No.
Anyway, that's getting into the weeds. We've got Premiership Cup semi-finals Friday and Saturday.
We do. God, forgetting about that. We've been so focused on this one game.
Yeah. By the way, if I've got one criticism of this game, it's that it should be the last game of the season.
I kind of agree with you on that.
Yeah.
A bit similar, like
strong agree.
Yeah, no, strong agree on that.
It should be the absolute pinnacle because it is the pinnacle.
It is the pinnacle.
And from a scheduling perspective, having it at the same time as the FA Cup does seem like a bit of an own goal.
Yeah.
It just seems a bit silly.
Agreed. So, semi-finals.
Yes. So, Friday night, Northampton host Saracens.
Tasty.
I just think Saracens are going to turn them over.
Northampton have been a better team than Saracens all season. I think Northampton have actually beaten Saracens twice this season as well.
Stuart Barnes was writing about this. Did you read the Stuart Barnes?
No.
One of the... Stuart Barnes has many issues with his writing and things that he thinks, but he's a bright man. But he was saying that playoffs are basically a joke because how can you win a league? But you optimise for different things. I can't believe you wrote that because you're optimising to get into the quarterfinals. You're not optimising to win the league.
So I think his point is, if I had to steelman his point and give him the strongest possible argument, the point he's making is when there were 13 teams, there were games happening during Six Nations, during autumn internationals. Therefore, the better teams were without some of their stronger players. And as a consequence, it wouldn't be fair to pick the team that finished first because some teams are only not finishing first by virtue of the fact they have lots of international players. His point was, and this is sort of the strongest case that he's giving, now it's a 10-team league and there's only 18 league games. The best team has access to all of their players whenever they want. And so it should be pure meritocracy. If you're number one, you are number one.
Yeah. The problem is with that argument is the rules, and they've always been the rules.
So there haven't always been the rules. Yeah. No, I understand. So yes, there's two things here. Are Northampton the best team in the Premiership? Yes,
they've been the best team across the season.
They've been the best team across 18 games. And everyone's had access to their players when they want. The second point is the playoffs got brought in to copy France. Because that's what France have done.
They just want an end of season showpiece.
Yeah, that's what France have done forever. It's a money spinner.
Did they copy France?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? Because these playoffs now have been... When was the first one? I want to say the first
I think France have always done a playoff.
Have they?
I believe so.
So I want to say 2001 or 2002 was the first playoff. Because
I think I've got a funny feeling I may be wrong on this. I'm happy to be corrected. I believe France Rugby's playoffs predate Super League Rugby League.
Okay, maybe. So these have been going for 20 years. Over 20 years now.
Yeah.
I think the last team to win the Premiership who didn't do it via the playoffs was Leicester. So we know what the reason I think it's silly for Stuart Barnes to go on this route is because we know what.
Yeah,
we know what the competition is, and therefore they optimise for these things.
You're right.
The goal is to get into the top four. Yeah. It's not to win every game.
And this is why the suggestion of a semi-final weekend, I think, that's a step too far, because I think you create meaning out of the first position and second position because you get home advantage. And I don't like the idea that it'll be neutral venues for the semi-final. It's the same with Champions Cup, to a lesser degree, actually. I don't mind so much about that. But Premiership, finishing first and second, was a massive... That's a massive carrot. I don't like taking that away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you get to fill up your home stadium, you get your home advantage, you get the financial benefit for it. You absolutely do that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Do you know what year there was the last one without playoffs?
2001, 2002?
Correct, yeah.
Oh, well played. Do you know one great fact? No one's ever won the Premiership finishing third.
Oh, really? So Saracens won it finishing fourth?
Yep.
When they beat Northampton in the semi-final in 2015.
Yes.
And Bath in the final.
Correct.
Who's won it from second?
I remember we watched that at the pub just there.
Who did?
Yeah,
Just over the road from your place, Jay.
Who won it finishing second then? Exeter, maybe?
Yeah, Exeter finished. Did Saracens finish top and Exeter beat them in the playoffs?
Yeah, something like that.
Or no, because if they finished second...
Saracens lost to Wasps.
Yes, that's...
And then Wasps lost to Exeter.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
So, hang on.
In 2020.
They'll be fourth. Yep, there you go.
Oh, no, in
2017.
Sorry, yeah. So, sorry, I'm looking at 2020 now, which is when Exeter won it, beating Wasps, but Exeter finished top in 2020.
2017.
Yeah, I've got
2017.
Feeling,
it is 2017.
Yeah.
Not to put chum in the water here, but I've just got a feeling this is going to be some horrific Owen Farrell last dance stuff.
Well, it's pretty cool that you're actually looking at these two fixtures and thinking that the third and fourth place teams could well win.
Definitely.
It hasn't been like that. It's been a clear cut first, second are big favourites.
Yeah.
And I'd still back both the first and second teams at home, but it's definitely...
Bath Sale. I mean, I don't think Bath measure up well to Sale. I
think they do now. I think Bath of a couple of years ago, bit flaky. They've got a tough pack. They've got a good hard pack.
They do have a hard pack. Sale have a harder pack though.
Probably just, but the home advantage for Bath.
If Bath can,
no Dan Dupree and no Tom Curry as well.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If they can get every twin out that they have available to them, they're going to be formidable, really formidable. But if they can't, it does change the dynamic somewhat.
Missing those two are big players to be missing.
Yeah, and also Bath will have the advantage in the back line.
Money where your mouth is, Tim. Who is the final going to be held between?
See, I'm so torn on the first fixture because it's two heroes of mine, two of my favourite rugby players. One of them is going to be playing their last ever Premiership game. Courtney Laws or Owen Farrell.
Owen Farrell could come back.
He could do.
Courtney Laws will if this is it, he will be playing his last Premiership game.
Yeah. Courtney's not coming back.
I don't think Saracens have got enough in the front row to do it, and they don't quite feel cohesive and connected in the back line. I like Tom Parton and players like that, but they're a big step down from the players they had when they were at their best.
Yeah,
so I think Northampton.
I just think,
and Northampton versus Sale. I'll say that. I think they're both going to be close.
I really want Northampton. I can't tell you how much I want Northampton to win. I really want them to win. Okay, I really, really want them to win. But I just have this horrible feeling, like the unstitching of the Saracens project after all of this time, everything that they've been through together. Can you imagine the team talk that Mark McCall, if he does do team talks, is going to give? You know, you've been through all this. You know, look at your Champions Cups, look at your titles, look at the lads around you, look at where we had to go, what they did to us, and we're still here, and it's our last game together, potentially our last game. I just think they're going to come flying out and level people.
I'd forgotten about it. Talking about this, I'm really excited for these two games. It's ace.
Yeah.
I think Northampton will have it. I think the scrum, I think they're tough enough up front to be able to hold.
Where are you watching the Friday night game?
Don't know yet. Oh, my friend Ben is coming up. Who knows his way around rugby? So I'll probably watch it in a pub with him.
I will be in Provence.
Oh, lovely!
South of France.
Just going to do a recce for George North.
Well, yeah, I'll be Verdun Gorge realm there. So yeah, I have to find somewhere that shows. You must know which channel in France hosts Premiership, or do they?
No, but there's lots of ways to watch rugby wherever you are in the world.
Yeah.
Although I did try and watch on the TNT. No, actually, the Discovery Plus app this afternoon. Tried to rewatch the game, and it wasn't working for me. There's an error on Discovery Plus.
How annoying!
If someone can sort that out and get in touch with me, that would be fantastic.
I'm just going to finish my thoughts on Northampton Saracens.
Yes.
Saracens have the advantage in my mind, and this is why. Northampton showed that they just don't quite get big games yet. It's going to take a little while. It took Exeter a long time to understand big games. And it took Saracens, God knows how long. They were knocking on the door for years and years and years until they got it. And they do still have that institutional knowledge of what it is to be in knockout rugby and win finals. Yeah. For some reason, I think that's going to be important. I think, I'm no Owen Farrell fan. However, he does know what he's doing. In the Premiership rugby, in Premiership club rugby, who is the guy that you want steering your team around in his last game for his club? Mm-hmm. It's got to be Saracens. It has to be Saracens. They even won the league the year after they got relegated.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
No, the year that they came back up.
Oh, did they? Did they come back up and win it? Or did Leicester win it?
Oh, it was Leicester, but then they won it the year after that.
And then they won it again.
Yes.
They got to the final. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to win. They can't be stopped.
The one thing I'll say is Northampton have already done this once already this season. They went away to Leinster in knockout rugby semi-final and were very, very close.
Yeah.
To 3 points away, moments away, one penalty away from beating.
There is an element where you're right, they handled that occasion fantastically. And they've got
the second half, they fluffed the lines in the first half a little bit.
But again, it's days like this when you look around, if you're one of those young guys that is in uncharted territory, you look around and you see Courtney Laws and you're like, we're okay. And there's enough quality there, and that whole cliche of the youth aren't scared or whatever. But there is an element, I was just going to say, on that Leinster thing, it was a little bit of a free hit. In a sense. I'm sure they wouldn't have spoken in those terms at all, but I bet if they searched the inner parts of their mind
really
and thought the things that they wouldn't say out loud, but they maybe had flashing thoughts, they would have been thinking, we're massive underdogs, probably not going to win, let's just have a crack. This is expectation. You've been top all year, you're in front of your home crowds, you've got to deliver now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Against the 6-time champions.
Just 6-time champions.
So, yeah. Tom Brady, I asked this the other week. Tom Brady got 7 rings, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, Owen Farrell can be rugby's Tom Brady.
So come on, Northampton.
So I
put the final nail in this awful coffin.
I saw this this weekend. Do you know who's got the most European Champions Cup rings, trophies?
As a player?
Ooh. So it could be Johnny Sexton.
Johnny Sexton has 4.
Yeah.
Alongside there are 3 other Leinster players who have 4.
Keane Healy.
James. No.
The other 2 are no longer playing.
Bod wasn't there for all of those, was he?
He wasn't. Because
because 2018
was the most recent one.
Okay.
Someone like Sean Cronin.
Devon Toner.
Big Dev Toner. And the other one is not an Irish player. He's a Leinster player, but not an Irish player.
Oh, Eason Athewa.
Yeah, good.
So there's one other player who has 4, who...
not a Leinsterman.
It
must be a Toulousain player, because there's no other teams have got 4 or more.
So he won it with 2 teams.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is what I'm thinking. So you got to... Vincent Clare?
Not Vincent Clare.
Because he went to Toulon.
So I'll take it. This is a tough
one.
Okay. He's a French international.
Yes.
Back 3 player.
Back 3 player.
Medard.
Not Medard. So he played for Toulouse. Before he played for Toulouse, he played for Brive.
Poitreau? No, because he was young. He was Toulouse born and bred.
No, not him.
Uge.
Michalak.
Not Uge.
Michalak played at Toulouse and then played at Toulon.
So the player I'm talking about now played for Brive, who got 4. I'll tell you who he is. He's Cedric Heymans.
Aimant.
But Michalak. So Michalak won with Toulouse in 2003, and 2005, and 2010. He then went to Toulon and won in 2013, 14 and 15.
He's won 6?
He's won 6.
What?
Frederick
What?
Michalak has won 6.
What a legend.
What a hero. Oh, wow.
That is awesome.
How did I not know that? How do more people not know that?
I know.
He's an absolute great, isn't he?
Yes.
6 Champions Cup winners' medals.
Yes.
And he was still playing a few years ago.
Yeah.
Still playing Lyon.
2018, he finished playing. Yeah.
Wow.
And he played a bit of scrum half too.
Scrum half and fly half.
He might have been playing scrum half for Lyon.
What a boy.
And he went to the Natal Sharks for a period of time in 2008.
Well remember.
And again in 2011. Wow.
Oh, that's what I was going to say, Tim. Not to, again, poke the bear here. Now that the Sharks have won the Challenge Cup, what does this mean for South Africans trying in the European competitions?
It's a Mickey Mouse competition.
but they'll try now.
They've earned a chance to play in the proper competition. So,
but now South African teams are now okay to try in the Shield or whatever it is, but not yet in the Champions Cup.
Well, I guess the context here is the Sharks are so out of it in the URC that there's nothing to play for
all
them.
of our South African listeners now, just know this. If you're a Sharks fan, I deeply respect you. Sharks, much love for Sharks now. Bulls, cowards. And this is the narrative forever and ever.
Well, I'm going to be
come back.
in a month's time. I'm going to be in Pretoria and in Durban, and I cannot wait.
Tell everyone you see in Pretoria, they're cowards.
I would not talk in those terms to a load of giant Dutchmen. Not a chance.
I'm not there, so I'm fine for you to convey the message for me, Tim. But then when you go to Durban, just express my profound respect for them travelling across the globe to teach someone a lesson in physical rugby.
And then they've done it the right way as well, because they basically sacked off the league this year.
Yeah.
They're just focused on Europe.
Yeah, exactly
right. Well done, Sharks.
And how cool was it as well? Oxenche demolishing his opponents during the game and then doing a little dance on the telly afterwards.
Yeah, have it.
Busting some moves.
Good lad.
Will the Sharks be good next year? Do we know? I mean, they can't. How bad can?
Well, Andre Esterhazen's going there.
Yeah, just look at that team. How can they not be better?
Well, they're a bit slightly imbalanced team, I'd say, and they haven't got a lot of depth. They've got 1 to 4 in their team is truly world class. And the best
that have ever played the game.
The best number 1 to 4 in any team in the world.
Yes,
there are holes in that team.
Half your pack is the best in the world.
Yeah,
that's just incredible.
Yeah,
they do have holes, but even the back line is quite impressive.
Yeah.
So,
and they were missing Lecanio Am and Jaden Hendricks, 2 other World Cup winners.
Yeah, I could get behind the Sharks. I like what they stand for.
Cool logo as well.
No, it's the logo. The logo is truly horrific.
But it's easy for you. Sharks and Sharks as your two teams.
Yeah.
Consistent branding.
Again, Durban is on the east coast of South Africa. There are great whites swimming around in the waters around there. That kind of the more you think about a sail and sharks, it's ridiculous.
I told Mark Evans on Economics the history of sharks, and he did not know.
The reason.
I heard that, and I thought it was the reason why the Jets are called the Jets, not the reason why Sale are called the Sharks.
Yeah, Sharks and the Jets.
But the Sharks and the Jets were both chosen because of West Side Story.
Yeah, because of West Side Story. West Side Story, like the most physical pack in English rugby, is named after a bloody musical. Think about that.
So, as for that, the fixture then, so you're going for, are you saying, are you saying Saracens because you fear that they're going to win? You're hoping Northampton, but do you really think Saracens?
I'm hoping Northampton with all my heart, but I really do think Saracens will batter them.
What about Bath against Sale?
This is a much more intriguing game to me. Well, is it a more intriguing game? That's probably wrong. It's not more intriguing. Sale, I don't know. There's something about this Sale team which I just don't trust. I think they're flawed in some way. And I do quite like how Bath are built, but I also think that they can be fickle. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't know. I really do not know.
I'm going to say the two favourites, the two home teams. I'm going to say it will be a Northampton-Bath final, which I think will also be a brilliant spectacle. I think that'll be a great game.
Yeah. I guess the question I'd have is, yeah, it's going to be team-based. Can Bath get their own way on the gain line? Does Alfie Barbary look like Alfie Barbary when he's facing up against Tom Curry and Ben Curry and
will he even be starting?
Will he even be there? That's the thing. I don't think Barbary looks like that player against those boys, but we don't know. So,
are you calling Alfie Barbary a flat trap bully? A peacetime mate.
He's to be fair to him, he is a bit more than that. He is a bit more, but I still don't think he's going to get all his own way against a fully. Mind you, that Bath back row, if they have their full back row, it is a frightening proposition. And Underhill is unbelievable, actually. And then Hill is very, awesome. Very, very good.
And then even Bayliss or the wiry open side, I can't remember his name at the moment.
Well, yes, I know.
God, what's he called?
Miles Reid?
Miles Reid.
Yeah, I like Miles Reid on all four.
Great player.
Chris Glute. I think he's awesome. So angry. Such an angry, aggressive man. He's a perfect guy to just unleash off the bench. They've got so many options up front. I'm not sure I'm down with their second row, but I'm not particularly, enamoured with Sale's second row. So that's fine. And I think maybe, I don't know, maybe they shade it up front with, maybe they shade it up, Bath shade it up front with their selection of props. I mean, Thomas DeToy's pretty good.
He's pretty handy.
He's very good.
Oh, I don't know. It's going to be very, very close.
I'm you going through the team. I'm rethinking my pick of Sale. I think these are so close. I'll stick with it. Northampton and Sale. You're going for Saracens and Bath, JB?
Or Saracens, Sale.
Saracens and Bath, I think.
Phil?
I'm going Northampton versus Bath in the final, and Northampton to win.
Let me just finish. Have you seen the 19-man England squad training squad that Steve Borthwick has named? Obviously,
19-man
without the top four teams, so it's just a collection of players outside of the top four teams.
Okay.
No Zach Mercer still.
They hate Zach Mercer.
Wow.
So no Zach Mercer, but in his position in the back row, you've still got you've got Guy Pepper, you've got Alex Donbrandt, Greg Fisselau. That's one of the new names. I'd suggest that there's young names in this that aren't going to be touring to Japan or New Zealand, and I'd probably Greg Fisselau is one of those. Guy Pepper's another one of those.
Sorry, you said Japan or New Zealand?
Japan, one test against Japan, two against New Zealand. Yeah. Gabe Ogre is in there.
I like that one.
And Russie Tuima as well is another one.
Yeah.
And Finn Baxter is in.
Yeah. Like all of those.
And in the backs, Charlie Atkinson.
Surprised at that.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that one. Luke Northmore.
Okay, good.
Back in. This is in addition to all of the normal names. I'm not going to go through Emmanuel Faye, Barbosa, Marcus Smith, and all the rest of it.
Northmore, I'm very happy about.
Northmore. Max Malins is back in this training squad anyway.
Yeah,
good. And Jack Van Portfleet's back in the frame.
JVP.
As well as Harry Randall.
JVP. If Rafi Quirk gets fit, that's going to be a fascinating battle to see.
Well, Harry Randall.
Mitchell's the man wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
Mitchell and Spencer will be 1-2 for the tour as it stands, and then it's who's going to be number 3? Is it Harry Randall? Is it Jack Van Portfleet?
JVP. That's what I think.
I think with the more ambition that England is starting to play with, I think it could be Harry Randall. I hope it's Harry Randall, but anyway, there you go. Right, I think we're done.
You're done.
Thank you very much for your support on the channel. More content, patreon.com/EggChasers. JB's on LinkedIn.
Beardmore & Co.
Phil is lurking.
Always.
EggChasers Rugby YouTube, and now FRUK Rugby as well. So check that out. And we'll see you on the next one. Let the boys end.
One size fits all seems like a good idea for clothes until you try them on. Same goes for healthcare. That's why United Healthcare offers flexible, budget-friendly coverage for medical, vision, dental, and more. Learn more at uh1.com.
Quality sleep is essential. That's why the Sleep Number Smart Bed is designed for your ever-evolving sleep needs. Need a bed that's firmer or softer on either side? Helps you sleep at a comfortable temperature? Sleep Number Smart Beds let you individualize your comfort, so you sleep better together. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number number 1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed for a limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Hi, this is Craig Robinson from Ways to Win, and support for this podcast comes from Invesco QQQ. The future isn't scary. Not realizing its potential, however, could be. Just like on the recruiting trail, I've seen potential come in many forms as a coach. Learn more at Invesco.com/QQQ. Let's rethink possibility. Invesco Distributors, Inc.